From the sporty, European-inspired ESP to a luxury cruiser with an interior designed by a Parisian fashion house, the XD Falcon would prove to be a wildly diverse and adaptable range. In part 1, which you can find at the link below, I explored the history, development and the sedan range of the XD Falcon lineup. Here, I'll be looking at the wagons, commercials, prestige and special editions that redefined Australian luxury. Because each of these hold such a rich history, I'll be dedicating future episodes to exploring some of them in greater detail. Before I go on, a quick note. Since I covered the styling, interior and mechanics of the XD in detail during part 1, I won't be repeating this unless a specific model features a unique variation on that. So without much further ado, let's get started. But before we dive in to the wagons, we need to look into the brilliant piece of platform engineering that underpinned them all. When Ford Australia launched Project Blackwood in 1979, the XD series, clean European-inspired lines, completely modernised local roads, while the XD sedans grabbed the spotlight. The platform's true versatility, luxury and muscle lived within the rest of the lineup. But Ford's smartest move with the XD was the deployment of a dual-wheelbase strategy. As you know, the XD sedan rode on a 2,819mm or 111-inch wheelbase, while the station wagon, however, was built upon a stretched 2,946mm or 116-inch wheelbase. Rather than engineering unique floor plans for all models, Ford cleverly utilised this extended architecture as a structural foundation for an entire family of distinct vehicles pulling triple duty. It provided the station wagon with a class-leading 2.34 cubic metre cargo area and gave the XD Ute and Panel van their exceptional payload capacity needed to dominate the commercial sector. For the ZJ Fairlane and FC LTD, this extended platform allowed Ford to maximise rear legroom by pushing the rear seats back while retaining the existing rear doors, creating their signature 6-window glasshouse. Sharing the 2,946mm wheelbase allowed Ford to maximise production efficiency by rolling everything from a tradie's workhorse to a luxury cruiser off the exact same assembly line. Unlike the XD sedans, the XD wagons were only available in either GL or Fairmont trims. The GL wagon was the dependable family workhorse of the range, standard with a 3.3 litre crossflow and 3-speed column shift manual transmission. However, it could be optioned with the 4.1 litre or 4.9 and 5.8 litre V8s, and transmission wise you could also option the 4-speed manual and 3-speed auto, either column or T-bar. But if you optioned the 5.8 V8, you only got one transmission option, the 3-speed T-bar. As a side note, I've noticed that New Zealand Ford documents suggest the GL was standard with a 4.1 litre and there was no Fairmont option, just the GL and the gear. So if anyone can clear this up, can you let me know in the comments, as it would be greatly appreciated. The wagon continued with a leaf spring rear suspension setup, yet despite a wider front track, Ford managed to shrink the wagon's turning circle, making it vastly more manoeuvrable than the car it replaced. It rode on styled steel wheels, shod with ER78 S14 steel belt radial 4-ply tyres, and stopping was by power assisted front disc brakes. Optional were Volante alloy sports road wheels, shod with ER70 H14 steel belt radial 6-ply tyres. Inside you got the reclining front bucket bench seat combo with a front folding centre armrest or bucket seats with a centre console storage bin. Standard with Eldorado grain vinyl or optional with striped wall blend cloth. A soft feel 4-spoke steering wheel, needle punch carpet with rubber matting in the load compartment. And let's not forget the gas struts for the easy lift bonnet. Outside it received body side protection mouldings and a one-piece liftgate, again with gas struts. Then we have the Fairmont wagon. This was the premium family cruiser, standard with a 4.1 litre crossflow and optional with either the 4.9 or 5.8 litre V8, but not the 3.3. Standard transmission was the 3-speed T-bar automatic, but the column shift was also optional. However, there was a catch with the V8 engines. Although the 4.9 could be optioned with any transmission, the 5.8 was strictly limited to the 3-speed T-bar. For the interior, you got corduroy crushed Beaumont cloth seat facings, a front centre console with armrest and storage bin. Again, striped wool blend cloth was optional for the seats. The passenger compartment floor received cut pile carpet with needle punch carpet on the lower doors, while the Fairmont shared the GL's dashboard with digital clock and 4-spoke soft feel steering wheel. An optional tachometer was available. The exterior received deep section body side protection mouldings, bright wheel centerpieces, plus chrome wheel trim rings. As mentioned in part 1, the wagon introduced a revolutionary, lightweight one-piece, lift-up tailgate, borrowed from the American market, and funnily enough, another Fairmont. The modern design completely replaced the heavy, complex winding window setups of the earlier drop-twist style of the XC generation. Both the GL and Fairmont models now also featured a proper rear window wash-wipe system as standard. The GL also got a Falcon GL script on its tailgate passenger side, while the Fairmont received engine call-outs on the front guards with a Fairmont script on the tailgate passenger side and blue oval on the driver's side. A clear way to tell the difference between the GL and the Fairmont wagon is by the classic chrome finish roof rack, which was only fitted to the Fairmont wagon as standard. Also, don't forget, late in 1980, the old cast iron cross-flow engines were upgraded to the new aluminium alloy head versions and simply known as alloy head. Oddly, unlike the sedan's single remote right-hand exterior mirror, the wagons featured remote adjustment for both the left and right exterior mirrors. Arriving late in 1979, the commercial lineup proved that a utility and van could look sharp without sacrificing its heavy-duty capabilities. Just like the wagons, both commercial variants were also engineered with a rugged 2-stage leaf spring rear suspension, but with load-rated axles. Oddly, the Ute and Panel van were totally different from the rest of the XD range, in that they were available in either base or GL spec only. Being commercial, the engine and transmission options were slightly different, but all models conformed to the same basic standards with some slight differences. Both the Ute and van lineup came standard with a 3.3 litre cross-flow 6-cylinder paired with a 3-speed manual column shift transmission. For those seeking more performance, buyers could opt for the larger 4.1 litre cross-flow 6-cylinder or the 4.9 litre V8 engine. Transmission configurations varied across the range, as the 3.3 litre and 4.1 litre engines be optioned with both 3-speed manual or auto column shift. Oddly, the 3.3 litre GL van got the T-bar auto as an option, but on the base van and base and GL Utes, this was not available. However, the 3-speed T-bar auto was optional on the 4.1 GL Ute and van. Furthermore, the 4.1 and 4.9 V8 engines on the GL models could be specified with a 4-speed manual floor shift, while the V8 on the base Ute and van was restricted to the 3-speed auto column shift. These commercials featured styled steel road wheels as standard, with Volante Sports alloy road wheels available as an option across the board. A point to note was tyre configurations were closely tied to the chosen load capacity and power plant. ER78 S14 steel belted 4-ply radial tyres were standard on 6-cylinder models with the 1000 weight load option, whereas a heavier duty 6-ply rated version of the ER78 S14 was standard for the 1500 weight. However, for maximum road holding, the wider ER70 H14 steel belted radials with 6-ply rating were mandatory at an extra cost on V8 models and optional on 6-cylinder versions, or if the S-Pack was selected, but more of the S-Pack later. The base models, van and Ute, were designed as work vehicles, featuring brown vinyl seats with a folding centre armrest, rubber flooring, a basic instrument panel and dash-mounted handbrake with trigger release. For the GL van and Ute, the inside received adjustable bucket seats with folding armrest or consolette, carpeted floor in the passenger compartment and rear load area headlining. Like the wagons, the Ute and Panel van also received styled left and right hand exterior rear view mirrors, each with remote control. Something that set the Ute and Panel van apart from the rest of the range were their side air extractor windows, positioned just behind the doors. While the base Ute featured a wide flat tub with flush fitting tailgate, the GL received body side protection mouldings and a tonneau cover for its tub, the bungee cord type. The base van featured standard dual rear windows with unique side hinged rear barn doors that locked at a 90-degree angle or swung wide open to 180 degrees for effortless forklift loading. However, the GL received body side protection mouldings, side glass in the load compartment, and most notably a lift tailgate, which was also an extra cost option on the base model. For the base and GL Utes and vans, a 1500 weight capacity was standard for trade work, though buyers could opt for a softer sprung 1000 weight version at a reduced cost for lighter personal use. Released on the 18th of May 1979 was the ZJ Fairlane. This European-styled luxury vehicle was lighter and leaner than its predecessor and built for the vast Australian landscape. Moving away from the traditional, heavy chromed American look of the ZH, it featured squared-off lines and a distinct 6-light greenhouse that clearly separated it from the XD Falcon. As you're no doubt aware, the Fairlane took its name from Henry Ford's estate in Dearborn, Michigan, which sat alongside the Rouge River, roughly 11 miles, around 17.7 kilometres from Detroit. Oddly, when the Falcon was initially released in March 1979, it would be both the ZH Fairlane and PB P6 LTD that would be available until the ZJ release in May, so causing a crossover of styles. Trimming 155mm or 6 inches off the preceding ZH's length, it delivered sharper handling and a tighter 12.4 metre turning circle. Initial launch engine choices were restricted to either, as standard, the 4.9 litre 4-barrel V8 with 3-speed T-bar auto, and optional, the more powerful 5.8 litre V8 with either T-bar or column shift. However, following months of average consumer sales and negligible fleet interest, Ford reassessed the ZJ's engine options, and in an effort to boost sales after the V8 only launch had struggled against rising fuel costs, Ford introduced a more fuel efficient 4.1 litre as a standard engine starting in December 1979. Then in July 1980, and responding to the ongoing fuel crisis, Ford introduced the upgraded 4.1 litre alloy head 6-cylinder to the ZJ Fairlane range. Built to tackle long distance touring, this package used electronic ignition, a noise-reducing viscous clutch cooling fan, limited slip differential and heavy-duty 4-wheel power disc brakes. It rolled on 14x6-inch pressed steel disc wheels with safety rims, shod-in ER70 H14 steel-belted radial tyres. However, Volante alloys again were an option. For rugged duties, the optional Outback packs added protection, while the Class 1, Class 2 and heavy-duty towing packs were also available on the options list, but more on these a little later. Inside, you could opt for either corduroy cloth-covered seats or long-lasting genuine leather seat facings with headrest inserts complementing the seat style, or vinyl as a no-cost option. Just like the Falcon, it received a moulded instrument panel that protected internal wiring and reduced cabin rattles. Also standard was dual-zone air conditioning. Its comprehensive instrument panel included voltmeter, oil pressure, temperature and fuel, plus a soft-feel twin-spoke steering wheel. However, a tachometer was not included. Extensive insulation created an ultra-quiet cabin with more head and leg room. Options included power windows or power steering, which was not available if you spec'd a column shift. Just like the XD, its structure integrated high-strength steel side intrusion door beams and progressive crumple zones, front and rear. It also gained rubber-faced bumpers with a chrome top strip and a rear quarter window, which would highlight the new 6-window design to be used on all Ford Prestige models. Its defining styling cue was a prominent rectangular grille with chrome surround, divided into 3 horizontal tiers by 2 chrome bezels, flanked by twin headlights mounted in distinctive squared-off surrounds. But unlike the Falcon, which featured wraparound indicators, the Fairlane utilised inserted turn signals. With regard to roofs, you could option either a vinyl roof or the moon roof, Its rear lights also received vertical ribs as opposed to the Falcon's horizontal. The Fairlane script could be found on both front fenders and trunk lid passenger side, with a blue oval on the driver's side. Released in October 1979 to replace the P6 series, the LTD was launched with a 5.8 litre 4-barrel V8, paired with a 3-speed T-bar automatic. However, a significant shift in the model's history would occur in mid-1980 when Ford, along with the Fairlane, would make the 4.1 litre alloy head 6-cylinder standard and the 5.8 V8 an option. This change marked the first time an LTD had been available in a 6-cylinder engine configuration. Underneath the chassis integrated a wider front track, variable ratio power steering and a dual-line 4-wheel ventilated power disc brake system backed by a rear wheel pressure limiting valve. The car rode standard on 14-inch turbine alloy wheels, shod with 185/70 HR14 Michelin XVS steel belted radial ply tyres. Inside the cabin were 6-way power adjustable contoured front seats faced in genuine leather, though crushed velour was an available no-cost option, and finished in thick deep pile carpeting. The new instrument panel housed a tachometer, trip meter, voltmeter, a digital date month clock, and with a comprehensive array of warning lamps. The cabin defined late 1970s prestige, featuring central locking, power windows and a 4-speaker AM/FM stereo cassette player with a power aerial. Climate comfort was paramount, with a 3-speed ventilation system, integrated air conditioning with dedicated rear compartment ducting and full-width electric rear window demisters. Rear passengers enjoyed a refined environment with louvered quarter window shades, tinted glass, pillar-mounted reading lights and dual cigar lighters. For buyers requiring that little extra, the extra cost options included a vinyl roof, metallic paint and heavy-duty suspension. Specialised equipment groups were also available, including the heavy-duty suspension-backed Outback pack, alongside 3 distinct towing packs. And again, more of these in a little while. This was the absolute pinnacle of locally built Ford luxury. The FC was distinguished by its vertical, waterfall-style grille, flanked by large headlights, plus lightweight, energy-absorbing bumpers. The LTD's rear lights were its defining feature and differed from the Falcon and Fairlanes by featuring a distinctive full-width blackout design, where heavily smoked lenses and horizontal ribbing blended seamlessly into a central dark garnish panel to create the illusion of a single continuous horizontal band framed by a thin chrome surround. It also featured the LTD script high on the front fenders, while the rear received the LTD crest on the boot centre with the blue oval on the driver's side, plus an LTD centre bonnet motif. Interestingly, the FC reference was used previously and by none other than Ford's rival on the Holden FC back in the late 1950s. Now, the thing is, the XD range has proved such a vast subject that I'm finding the more I look into it, the more that there is, and I'm sure you guys can also definitely add to this in the comments. Consequently, I've had to expand this video series from 2 parts up to 3, where part 1 still covers the XD's development and sedans. However, part 2 will now cover the remainder of the XD range plus the ZJ and FC lineup, with part 3 now focusing on all the specials and limited editions. So, that's it for now, and catch you in the next one.